All right. All right. All right. All right. Come on in the room, good people. This your boy Cornelius Jones, 10 Mina Investing. Oh, what a day it is. What a day it is to do a video. I plan on being here for a little while. I probably will go somewhere on the low end, 25 minutes, on high end, 35 minutes. We'll see how it goes. But we have a lot to discuss today. We have so much to discuss today. We have some great things to discuss, and we got some frustrating things to discuss, but we're going to discuss it all. And we're talking about today the SEC. By now, I'm sure everyone knows the SEC has put forth all the specifics of the settlement, and they are asking the judge to go back and redo some things. And we're going to go over exactly what that is. And James K. Filan also posted so that we can have a very clear expectation on moving forward with the case. So we're going to go over all of that. Also, we have the Stablecoin Act called the Genius Act. It failed miserably. That thing just plummeted, man. Maxine Waters, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, all those anti-crypto goons, all those anti-crypto goons are dead set against anything that is productive that is going to get this thing passed. And so I'm going to read an article there, and we're going to go over that. Obviously, going to rock with you guys in the comments as well. I appreciate everybody for being here. So it's going to be a good day. So let's do it. Let's do it. We got some people in the place. Zach Shelton, how you doing, my brother? Thanks for being here. 619 Believer back again. What's going on? We got Slush Naturals. What's going on? T-Boy 85. How you doing, brother? Nathaniel Rosaball back again. Glad to see everybody in the place. All right, let's get into this. Going to go ahead and read James K. Filan's post here. He's going over the next steps. So Judge Torres needs to provide an indictive ruling as to whether the court would, 1, dissolve the injunction and release the escrow with $50 million going to the SEC and the balance back to Ripple. That's number 1. That's wonderful. That's what we learned from the document. So the SEC has agreed not to the $125 million, but only $50 million. The $75 million goes back to Ripple. And they are also asking Judge Torres to release the injunction. Now, I want to say something very quickly about the injunction, because the original injunction that Judge Torres issued, a lot of people, I think, are misunderstanding and misinterpreting what that injunction was saying. A lot of people say that Ripple has been enjoined from selling XRP to institutions. That's not true. Okay? It's not true. It's a little bit more precise than that. Ripple was enjoined from selling XRP a certain way to institutions. Not, you just can't sell to institutions. I remember specifically reading documents in the case that were explaining how Ripple reconstructed their sales, the way they packaged and sold XRP to institutions so that it could be done in a compliant way. I remember reading those things, okay? So the injunction was a weird injunction because they were basically enjoined to not break Section 5 of the securities law. That's it. It's not that you can't sell XRP to institutions, but the specific way they did it, the specific way they packaged it, violated the securities laws at that time, according to Judge Torres. So she enjoined them from violating the securities law. Well, duh, don't break the law. Okay, we got you. Right? So that's how that was worded. They were not enjoined from selling XRP at all to institutions. All right. Now, hence this injunction. What I guess what this means is now if this current injunction is dissolved, then the way that they were selling XRP to institutions before that got them in trouble with the SEC will be available again. That's how I see that. Okay. All right. So that's great. That's number one. But let's get to number two. If Judge Torres provides the indictive ruling, the SEC and Ripple will ask the Second Circuit for a limited remand back to Judge Torres to ask for the relief described above. Now, I had to go to Gronk because I didn't know what a limited remand was. And after going to Gronk and understanding a limited remand, what it does is it goes back to a lower court, right? Because after this, when it came to the appeals, it went up to the Second Circuit. Now a limited remand is going to send it back down to a lower court where Judge Torres was. And Judge Torres is only going to handle the part in question, the part of the case that's in question. All of the other aspects of the case remain intact. So the entire thing doesn't have to be retried all over again. It's simply tackling the specific issues that were cited here. The dissolving of the injunction and the amount Ripple has to pay. The other parts of the case are in stone, intact. We don't have to touch that. What are the other parts of the case? Number one, XRP in and of itself is not a security. Programmable sales of XRP do not meet securities contracts. Okay, they do not constitute securities. That was the major win that we got way back in June of 2023. Also, the personal sales that Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson sold, that was dropped a long time ago, right? So we just have these two things to finish. So after a limited remand, let's get to number three. Upon the granting of the remand from the Second Circuit, the SEC and Ripple will file a motion with Judge Torres asking for the relief described above. So this thing seems tedious, right? First, they're going to Judge Torres to say, yo, Torres, are you down with this? And if she says yes, okay, bet. Now we're going to go to the Second Circuit and we're going to ask for the limited remand. We got the limited remand. Okay, bet. Now we're going to come back to Judge Torres and go through the official process, which is the motion. That's how it has to start. But they're going to her first to making sure that she would be willing to provide that indictive ruling, right? So the process is the process, people. So now, after the SEC and Ripple, they will file a motion with Judge Torres asking for the relief described above. Okay. Now, number four, here's the last step. After the injunction is dissolved, right? Because they're going to apply the motion and Judge Torres is going to officially dissolve the injunction and order the new payment and the funds distributed. The SEC and Ripple will ask the Court of Appeals to dismiss the SEC's appeal and Ripple's cross appeal. Then it will be over. So that's the last step. Nothing else to file after that. Judge Torres dissolved everything, and then they go to the Court of Appeals and let them know we were issued a limited remand. Judge Torres handled all those things. The injunction's dissolved. The payment has been paid. And now we ask the Court of Appeals to drop or dismiss Ripple and the SEC's appeal. Ripple's cross appeal, of course. And then they will okay that. And then it will finally be over. How long do we have until we get to that point? I don't know. I don't know what the reasonable expectation is for all these steps. But here's what I do know. We no longer have an agenda that is trying to stifle the innovation when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Remember the days back in the day, way back in 2023, right? 2022, 2023. If you were following the case back then, every time the SEC had something due, they were stalling, right? Always waiting to the last deadline. Even recently, they missed a deadline. The SEC actually missed a deadline, a court deadline, recently for some paperwork, and the judge just said, "All right, turn it in." You know what I'm saying? Like that was the name of the game for them. And for those of us who've been following the case for a few years, we remember what that was like. But that's no longer the case, right? So this when the SEC filed this, I think they still had like 30 something more days left to the deadline, right? Because they had 60 days to file their status report. I think they did it in, was it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I don't even know. I don't know exactly how long it was. I got to go check. However, knowing that, maybe this is over by the summer. I've been saying summer, but not understanding. I mean, now that I see exactly everything that needs to take place, this is no more uncertainty when it comes to this case. This is everything that needs to happen. James K. Filan just spelled it all out for us. Hopefully this doesn't take long. Hopefully this doesn't take long. I am highly optimistic that these 4 action steps will be completed by the summer, probably early summer. So we're in May right now. We may within another 2 months, most likely, I'm thinking this could be finished. And that's incredible news. That would be incredible news. All right. So that's my look at that. Wanted to update everyone with that. Now got to get into some frustrating news. These motherfucking Democrats, man. Woo! Woo! Lord have mercy. Elizabeth Warren and her goons. Oh, my. Maxine Waters. Oh, I was watching Paul Barron's channel, and he had showed some of the videos of some of these Democrats. They were just out of freaking order. They were out of order. They were just completely out of order. They were, talking when they were not being recognized, when they didn't have the floor. They totally just would, and they ended up walking out. You know what I'm saying? And Schumer is in the background smiling. They're trying to literally stifle innovation. That's all it is. And they're trying to cover it up by saying, we have to protect the people from Trump's, corrupt crypto agenda. That's what this is. That's what they're trying to paint the picture. We got to protect the American people from Trump's corrupt crypto agenda. There is nothing corrupt about crypto in and of itself. Crypto is digital code. It's digital code. The corruption lies with people. That's where the corruption lies, with people. And people can use technology to do corrupt things. That's why we need legislation, Democrats. Oh, God. So anyway, I'm going to read a little bit of this article, y'all. Okay, we're only 13 minutes in. Good. We have time. Going to read a little bit of this article. It's just unfortunate, but it's going to happen. It's not happening as fast as I would like, but it's going to pass. The stablecoin bill is going to pass. It must pass. There's no way the United States is just going to be behind the rest of the world when it comes to innovation. Don't get me wrong. I believe if the crypto world, if this switch is going to be flipped like we think it is, there's no way the United States is not involved in that. That's number one. But number two, I know what this technology is. So because I understand what it is, I have high confidence that the technology is going to win out over corruption. Because the technology at the end of the day is going to make and save banks so much money, period. And at the end of the day, money talks the loudest. But for right now, we have to deal with these Democrats for the most part politicizing everything. You know, this should not be a political issue. We're talking about enhancing the payment system, but they're trying to make it about Trump. The Democrats are trying to make it about Trump. Anyway, let's get into some of this article. There are plenty of articles out. I thought this one was a good one. Senate Democrats rally against crypto bill amid criticism of Trump's ties to the industry. And why is my thing refreshing? Lord have mercy. Sorry about the delay. All right, here we go. Senate Democrats are rebelling against a crypto regulation bill, putting the first of its kind legislation in jeopardy ahead of a possible key vote on it later this week. And again, yes, it's going to come around again. It's not over, right? It's not over. Votes coming around again. But the Democrats are really trying to do everything they can to stall this and slow down the productivity of these meetings with their unruliness. Right? If they wanted to object, they had plenty of time to object, before it got to the floor, when they knew it was coming to the floor on this day and time. Anyway, the bill known as the Genius Act would create a regulatory framework for stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency tied to the value of an asset like the US dollar. It advanced out of the Senate Banking Committee in March with bipartisan backing, but has since bled Democratic support amid concerns about President Trump and his family's business ventures involving cryptocurrency. That's what it's all about, people. They worried about Trump. That's it. The bill passed through the committee weeks before the announcement earlier this month that an Abu Dhabi-backed firm will invest billions of dollars in a Trump family-linked crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. The deal involves the firm buying $2 billion worth of a stablecoin offered by World Liberty Financial and using it to invest in crypto exchange Binance. The news set off alarm bells for Democrats, who are now pushing for legislation that bans elected officials and their families from buying or selling crypto assets, including stablecoins. So what happened? What was wrong here? What went wrong here? Trump made money and they're mad. Did he do anything illegal? No. And yes, it was using crypto. Was it illegal though? No. But they're so gung-ho on, oh, Trump is making money off of crypto. Oh my God, these people, man. Oh my God. Last week, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a New York Democrat, told his members that they should not commit to the voting for the Genius Act as a way to leverage changes, according to a source familiar with the discussions. Talks between Republicans and Democrats about potential changes are ongoing. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a South Dakota Republican, has signaled openness to modifications, but told reporters Tuesday, we need to start moving forward. A procedural vote is expected Thursday, despite the opposition that needs at least 60 votes. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona, a member of the Senate Banking Committee, said the stablecoin bill advanced out of the committee with the caveat that improvements would be made before it was brought up for a floor vote. But Republicans moved ahead without addressing Democrats' concerns on provisions involving anti-money laundering, national security, and consumer protections, Gallego said. I think the purpose of that was really to put Democrats in a bad position and try to force us to vote for it, Gallego told Midas Touch in an interview posted Wednesday. I read another article that brought this issue up, and it said that even though it was on the floor, they could vote and still make provisions later with certain items that, were in question or maybe they didn't disagree with. So just wanted to point that out. Let me skip some of this, though. Let me read this part. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, the top Democrat on the Senate Banking Committee, has circulated a fact sheet to all Senate Democrats laying out how she says the stablecoin bill falls short on safeguarding against corruption, as well as protecting consumers, the financial system, and national security. This lady don't give a flying flip about protecting consumers. You know what's so funny? Both sides are claiming that their way is protecting consumers and the opposite way is not. Isn't that interesting? Because the people that put this bill together, they weren't just some Joe Blows, right? This bill was put together with very, very qualified people, smart people in our government. And there's been countless hours of debate and talks and meetings. This thing wasn't just thrown together like they did. Let's just throw some stuff on the wall and see what sticks. No. So I'm confident that the people who put this bill together, it is going to protect investors, but they're going to spin it in a way that's not protecting investors. But really what you'll find when you come to find out that it's really just about Trump as you continue to read this. Watch what it says. Congress is writing laws that will sharply increase or decrease the value of stablecoin businesses, and the public should know that no one is making decisions to further their own financial interests, including the President of the United States. The current version of the Genius Act contains no such restrictions, it says. In a statement to CBS News, Warren said, Democrats who both support and oppose the Genius Act agree that greenlighting Donald Trump's corrupt stablecoin deals is wrong. We need to make sure we fix this in the bill, or else the Genius Act will simply facilitate Trump's crypto corruption. What crypto corruption? We're going to find out. This is what they're calling crypto corruption. Watch this. The request aligns with a separate bill introduced by Democratic Senator Jeff Markley of Oregon on Tuesday. The bill, titled the End Crypto Corruption Act, would prohibit the president, vice president, members of Congress, senior officials in the executive branch, and their immediate families from financially benefiting from crypto assets. So they don't want anybody in government or their immediate family members to benefit from crypto. How stupid is that? So can they buy gold? Can they buy silver? Well, okay, why can't they buy crypto? That doesn't make sense at all. To eliminate you they can buy stocks. Now, I understand why we have rules, insider trading rules in place. I get that. But to say you just can't buy an asset, how is that reasonable? How is that even reasonable? How is that even reasonable? Currently, people who wish to cultivate influence with the president can enrich him personally. Watch this, y'all. Let me start over. This is the part that they're calling corruption. Currently, people who wish to cultivate influence with the president can enrich him personally by buying cryptocurrency he owns or controls. Merkley said in a statement, "This is a profoundly corrupt scheme. It endangers our national security and erodes public trust in government. Let's end this corruption immediately." Does anybody see the problem with that? Anybody? I'm going to tell you the problem with it. Anybody see the problem with that statement? Here's the problem with the statement. It's hypocritical. It's hypocritical. That's the problem with it. Tell me when in history have politicians not received, not garnished favors for certain people who were donating money? How is that different? How is that different from lobbyists, right, who give money to certain politicians and make certain deals and say, okay, I'll give you this money if you promise to do this for me, right? That's been going on for forever. And so if Trump has a coin and people are buying into his coin, it's no different. It's no different. It is absolutely no different. A movie star can use their influence for a coin. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody can. Anybody can. Anybody who buys their coin, they need to be responsible with their decision and understand the risks that are involved. But it's nothing corrupt in and of itself with the system of buying and trading a crypto, even if it's a meme coin belonging to a political figure. You know, so the fact that they are trying to merge all of this in and just cancel the whole bill, the bill that is going to give the banks the clarity and rules that they need to engage with these stable coins, to engage with RLUSD, is just ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy, man. And it's unfortunate. But like I said, the corruption can only last so long. It can only last so long. I love this scripture. I want to read a scripture right quick because I feel it's appropriate for what we're talking about. There's a scripture that says, I'm just going to paraphrase it. Where do wars and fight? No, it says, why do wars and fights, come from among, not, how is it put? Basically, why are you warring and fighting, right? If there are wars and fights in your midst, in your congregation, it's because of corruption. It's because you want things that you don't have. Is you lie, you steal, you cheat, and you're just after your own lustful agenda or an unrighteous agenda or whatever it is. I bludgeoningly paraphrase that scripture, but I'm really not trying to quote it. I'm just trying to explain what it's talking about in a general text that we can apply here. But I have to look it up and read the scripture verbatim. But I believe it's in Timothy, I believe. But I'll look it up later. But the point is, that's what's going on in our government right now. We have warring and fighting, and we have people who are for their self. They have their own private agenda. And that's why we can't get anything done. That's why we can't get anything done. When you have a group of people who have their own private agenda, but they want to hide it, hide it behind the mask of I'm doing the right thing, right? They're hiding behind their hatred of Donald Trump behind the mask of we have to protect the people. No, you don't. You're not trying to protect people, right? Not trying to protect people at all. So anyway, let's see how much more of this do I want to read. On Wednesday, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont Independent will hold a roundtable with crypto experts to highlight the Genius Act's serious risks to the U.S. economy. Oh, Lord. Now here's another thing. The Trump family's venture into crypto products has increased their wealth by billions in the last 6 months. Good for him. Good for him. Trump has always been a businessman. So now that he's the president, he's not supposed to, make deals and invest and stop. He's going to stop doing that and stop trying to increase his family's wealth. He should stop doing that because he's the president. Don't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, according to a recent report, his administration continues to loosen the federal government's regulatory approach to the digital currency industry as a whole. Obviously, that's what Trump is trying to do. But get this, though. The president's crypto holdings now represent nearly 40% of his net worth. What? That's crazy. Or approximately $2.9 billion. That increase due in part to his release of the Trump and Melania meme coins, in addition to a large stake in World Liberty Financial, which launched in October 2024. I don't see a problem with a politician, even if it's the president, having a meme coin. Don't see the problem with it. It's simply, of course, it's all speculative, and the value of the coin is going to be determined by the buys and sells of the retail market. It is what it is. And if people do that, then they just have to understand the risk. Just like they understand the risk when they play the lottery, right? Just like they understand the risk when they bet on sporting events. Betting on a sporting event is probably just about as risky as buying a meme coin. But it's amazing to me how we have double standards in our nation. These double standards don't make sense because there are interior motives that are being hidden, right? There are motives. It's not about protection. These things have been around in different ways. In response to the criticism, White House spokesman Anna Kelly told CBS News in a statement that Mr. Trump's assets are in a trust his assets are in a trust managed by his children, and there are no conflicts of interest. Stablecoin legislation should be passed on a bipartisan basis. President Trump is dedicated to making America the crypto capital of the world and revolutionizing our digital financial technology, she said. So obviously, we know that's what his modus operandi is. He wants to make America the crypto capital of the world, and the Democrats are against Trump, so they're going to be against his agenda. So if Trump is is for crypto, then the Democrats got to be against it. But they've been against it. It's nothing new, right? We do have some Democrats that have crossed the aisle. Hopefully we have, when this thing comes up again, I think it's supposed to come up again on next Thursday, I believe I read. But whenever it comes up again, hopefully it'll go through the next time. But whenever it goes through, it's definitely going to go through. I'm highly confident in that. But we just have to wait, people. But when these things happen, the utility of XRP is going to blow people's minds. It is literally going to blow people's minds. That was a long rant today. We had a lot of information I wanted to get out. I'm going to jump in, you guys. Oh, we got super chats in the building. Appreciate you, Atlas Plateau. Appreciate you. Let me get in here and rock with my peeps. Let me rock with my peeps. I'm scrolling back up. I'm not going to read all the comments, but I'm going to read a good bit of them. Led Zeppelin, what's going on? Glad you're in the building. Teak Boy 85, the same party of politicians who launder money through U.S. aid, but I digress. Exactly, man. They're just a bunch of hypocrites. They are just a bunch of hypocrites. As long as they get everything done before the midterms next year, I think we'll be okay. Yeah, we will be. I can't. I ain't gonna lie. It's that frustration we felt with Gary Gensler is still here on the legislation on the Congress side. On the Congress side, man. But it's a process. But we're gonna get there. Phantom Beat was good. Lonzo Turner was good. Adam he said, at the end of the day, we're all going to be rich. Absolutely. Led Zeppelin believes it's all staged. Yep. It's understandable why people think that. There is nothing else to talk about. The case will be done and the laws will be done. Just waiting. Facts, man. Facts. That's why the biggest news for me is any updates dealing with the case, any updates dealing with legislation. And of course, partnerships, that type of news, that's going to bring us news that opens up a, window to understand the utility, and it's going to be, and how the technology is going to be used. But when it's going to get used, it's about legislation and the lawsuit being over. The sooner that stuff is over, then the sooner it can do what it do. He said, Led Zeppelin, 2 Republicans also. Yeah. It will get done by Memorial Day, Thune said. Not worried, just more waiting. Hey, that would be great. Of course, I'm not worried either. I'm just fed up with these stupid Democrats. I can't lie. I can't lie, man. I'm fed up with all of them. All of them. All of them. I think the case is not over. Someone always appeals. Yeah, so Job, that already happened. The SEC appealed. Ripple had a cross appeal. Then that sent the lawsuit to the Second Circuit. And then recently, both Ripple and the SEC came to a settlement agreement, an agreement that they did not expose to the public, but they did file a motion to the second court to put the appeals in abeyance. And so they did that. And now the SEC has come out with the details of the settlement. And in these details, James K. Filan, he came out and made a post for us on X and gave us a reasonable expectation on what is going to happen with this lawsuit. Okay, so there are no more appeals. We know that is a fact. There are no more appeals. Nathaniel Rosenball, crypto regulations is going to get done this year because the USA is going to get left behind by other countries if we don't. So they know they have to. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's no way. If the United States never ever gets on board, then yeah, the rest of the country is just going to say, okay, we're going to go ahead without the US. But that's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. The USA is going to adopt the technology. The entire world is going to be on board with digital assets. Job work, you think $100 15 years from now? I think $100 is going to happen a lot sooner than that. Led Zeppelin, but I don't know, right? None of us know. But I do have my convictions. Led Zeppelin, $100 in 15 years, you're high and wrong. Oh, man. Yeah, hopefully you are wrong, Job. Yeah, they don't get in trouble for insider trading. Exactly. They're just, with all that stuff that they do, like, come on, man, stop it. Stop it. Yep. John, they may be pissed that they didn't get to do it first. Yeah, Pelosi doing the same as Trump. Exactly. I mean, when it comes to price predictions, no one knows, Job. No one knows. I'm going to tell you how I do my price predictions. I do my price predictions by how much volume I believe I see XRP putting forth. That's how I do mine. So by 2030, I think we're going to be well past 100, and I'm being very conservative. By 2030, I don't see any way possible that legislation and lawsuit being over, that we haven't been in a space like that for at least 4 years, right? And there's no way that in a 4-year span with the regulatory blessing, that XRP is not going to grow in utility. And when you're talking about growing in utility, you're talking about all of the trillions, tens of trillions of when it comes to volume, hundreds of trillions when it comes to volume that XRP is going to have to handle, and eventually quadrillions. These numbers are not made up. When you look at the legacy financial system, the current traditional system, and you look at the numbers that they're moving in different revenues, like the stock market, right? Okay, let's look at what Swift is moving. Okay, what else? Let's look at these different entities that need to move value and are going to move this value on new rails digitally. The math is the math. There's no way XRP can just be $100 when it has to move quadrillions of dollars of value, and half the XRP is locked up and not even being used. And it's a deflationary asset. All these transactions on the XRP ledger with RLUSD are going to ramp up. Think about this. Ripple is trying to buy Circle. You think they're going to buy Circle? You think they're going to be successful with that? I do. I think they will be. And let's say that they are. All those USDCs, one of two things. Either that's going to be running on the XRP ledger, or they can convert those into and package them into RLUSD. That's just more either way, that's just more volume. Every transaction on the XRP ledger costs XRP. What's going to happen on the ledger when there are hundreds of thousands and millions of transactions every day, right? And then considering the fact the amount of liquidity that needs to be available instantly around the world to handle all these transactions, using the largest institutions in the world, like Hidden Road. They only do investments for 300 of the largest banks in the world. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense for XRP to be at $100 if it's going to fund that type of volume. And I see that type of volume moving by 2030. But again, what do I know? When it comes to price and when it's going to be a certain price, I don't know. I do not know. I just hope I'm right. I believe I'm right when it comes to the valuation of XRP as far as how soon, right? Let's read this super chat comment from Atlas. People say XRP is too volatile. Volatility is temporary, and the adoption of XRP will be permanent, 100%. And XRP, honestly, is not that volatile. I mean, the price, when you look at the price of XRP in any given span of time, it's usually just, trades pretty stable. It has its dips and it has its climbs. But for the most part, XRP trades pretty stable. And when it comes to the largest institutions using on-demand liquidity, Ripple's on-demand liquidity, the settlement process only takes 2 to 3 seconds. So we're never worried about the change in price of XRP over a 2 to 3 second period, right? You just don't have to worry about that. So the volatility with XRP is no different from, any other utility token, but it's really nothing to worry about. As I'm sure you would agree, my brother. Led Zeppelin. I mean, we've been down this road and saw the evidence of what's to come. If you believe it, cool. If that's cool, also you do you. Yeah, for facts. Coinor, what's going on? Nobody, and I mean nobody, invest on a 15-year time horizon. Nobody, ever. Well, I don't understand what you mean by that. Nobody invests on a 15-year time horizon. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Surely you're not saying no one invests with the idea of making money 15 years down the road from their investment, because people do that all the time. Maybe I don't understand what you're saying. What about 401k? You invest on a 40-year horizon. 401ks are not what they used to be. And I think crypto is a lot better asset to put money in than a 401k, in my opinion. Well, not just crypto in general, but XRP for sure. For sure. All right, Led. Lonzo, XRP has RLUSD volatility and the coin is irrelevant. That's what you think, huh? Well, hey, Bank of America disagrees with you. SBI Global in Japan, the largest bank in Japan, they also disagree with you. A lot of people disagree with you on that one, buddy. All right, I'm gonna rock with y'all. We right at 44 minutes. So I'm gonna read a couple more comments, and then I gotta jump off, people. No, it's not over yet, Nola man. Here's when we've been saying the case is over for a long time, right? Every time something drops and we think it's over. But what we know when it comes to over, as of right now, as of today, the attack against crypto, the SEC's attack against Ripple, against crypto, that is over. That's over. The war on crypto in that aspect is over. We still got a war going on in Congress, but that part is over. What we need now is just all the loose ends to be tied up. That's it. Ripple and the SEC are on one accord. They're in agreement. And so we just need the process to play out. We just need the process to play out. All right, my good people. I appreciate everybody for being here. Listen, y'all need to come check out the private Discord group. We meet twice a week, and we have some people in that group that spit fire information. I'm trying to tell you, there's one particular gentleman, I'm trying to convince him to start his own YouTube channel because he's incredible. The information that he has is unbelievable. And all of us in the community, we just have a great time. So if you want to join the private Discord group, the link is in the description of the video. Come on and join us. We meet twice a week. You have access to links. If you miss a Zoom meeting, you'll always be able to watch it on demand. Highly, highly, highly valuable information on these private Zoom meetings that are not released publicly, people. They're not released publicly. So come on, join the family. Love to have you. Thank you, everybody, for rocking with your boy. Don't forget to like, share, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. It helps me out a lot. With that said, I'm going to holler at you guys on another video. Y'all be blessed, and y'all have a good day.